Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namin, Gora Karuna Sarvaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda. Ananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda. Ananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Jaya Krishna Krsna
Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna
Haribol Namaste. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasthate Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Garadha Shrivasadi Gaurabhakta Vridam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Haribol Namaste. So I'd like to reiterate something about our study program. It is about meditation upon the Supreme Person, to know more about Him, so we can direct, surrender, and give our heart, our love, in loving devotion. We must know more about the Supreme Person. So through the instruction of our instructing spiritual master, none other than Lord Krishna Himself, who reveals Himself through the guidance of Parampara. So it is very important that we follow the process, the scientific process. So Lord Krishna states that if one comes in contact with His pure loving servant, listen to him, render loving service, offer obeisances, follow him, then the import, the secret, the mystery of the Vedic wisdom will be revealed to him. So we may ask, how? Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, from me comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So in our study previously, we can recap that when Lord Krishna states that the living entity us, we're always being guided by Krishna. He's situated beside us. So now, when we come in contact with the science, this transcendental science of how we can be in perfect, in an eternal, absolute, established relationship with the Supreme Person, we must be under the divine energy of the Supreme Person. And what is that divine energy? It is His instruction. He tells us, love me, follow me, surrender unto me. So all what we have to do is listen and be with the world of Lord Krishna's happiness, our offering of devotional loving service that will give us spiritual vision, spiritual strength, enthusiasm, and to be under the divine energy of God. Lord Krishna states that if we don't follow Him, we will still be guided by another force, material nature. So we have a choice to be under the divine energy of God or to be under the force, the subjugation, the influence of material nature. So since if we're intelligent, if we are become free from this ignorance, and we begin to see, what do I really want? What do I really have that is inseparable from me? What do I really cling on to? It is rendering loving service. Under the divine energy, it will be in a world of pure devotional service, loving the Supreme Person. So in practice, we can engage in those activities that is given to us. So it will be a process that will bring us closer to God, to know more about Him. So He Himself comes to us, and the process is hearing. So under the influence of material nature, our body, our focus is upon hearing material sound. So seeing material energy through our eyes, engaging in activities that is centered around trying or following material nature, the three modes of material nature. It's the one that motivates us to be working, engaging in activities. So now we have this understanding that yes, what is inseparable from me is my love. So instead of trying to complicate so many instead of complicating our goal, which is very simple, we don't need to try to ascend, to read the Vedas and try to interpret it and enter the world of Radha and Krishna. But rather, we simply follow the instruction of Lord Krishna. If we use the mind, our own limited power, to know more about Krishna, to be a jnani, try to use my brain, my mind, enter the world of Radha and Krishna, try to speculate. We should simplify our life because the process is very simple. But although very simple, it will be very hard when we are not purified from this misconception that we are self-sufficient, we don't need Krishna, and we want to be on our own. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you don't follow me, you will still be fighting. If we don't follow the instruction of Lord Krishna, we will be engaging in activities. But the question, are those activities help us in our relationship, loving relationship with the Supreme Person, with Govinda, with Krishna, with sweet Krishna? That's why it's very important. It is imperative, absolutely, to first understand the most basic, elemental understanding and realization that we are a different energy from matter, life. So when one realizes it and acts upon his true nature as eternally the loving servant of God, then it is following Krishna's desire to be in harmony with the world of pure, loving, devotional service, because my activities now is centered around fulfilling the Lord's desire. And He comes to me through the instruction of His dear, confidential, loving servant, the instructing spiritual master. One time, my spiritual master was giving a speaking. He was in Manila. He's speaking in a congregation of so many people. So they have this invitation. So there's this media woman, She comes. She looks at Srila Prabhupada. He's sitting on a big chair. People were bowing down, offering garlands. You know what she felt? This is not right. How come he's sitting on a big chair? And all these people around him, loving him, serving him. No. So she has this misconception that sitting on a big chair, there's happiness. It's just relative. You may be sitting in a small chair. I may be sitting here. But will it really give you happiness? And when people give you garland, bow down to you, this fame, people, they want to have this, I'm a successful, they want to be praised. But there's no happiness there. Because she is so contaminated. She's cut off from that world of devotional service. She's not seeing that the relationship of those individuals who are offering garland, offering flowers to the representative of God is a relationship. And the reason our spiritual master came there to speak is to canvas, educate us, that we can be established in our true eternal activity. Our activities in the spiritual dimension. And it begins with hearing the glories of God. So he comes chanting the glories of God. So in the Bible it's stated, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. But this person is so angry. She's so angry. So she begins to criticize. Not seeing. So she is influenced. She sees things through these imperfect eyes. Under the influence of the material nature, lust, she cannot see. What she sees are imperfection. To be able to understand God, to be able to understand this pure loving science of pure devotional service, we must be guided by the scientific process that God Himself is giving us. He tells Arjuna, one must search out a bona fide spiritual master. Someone who is a pure loving servant of God, a resident of the spiritual world, who comes, just like the beloved Son of the Father, Lord Jesus Christ, who comes, who teaches us about loving relationship, surrender, loving the Father. Her vision is completely perverted. So for us to enter that world of pure devotional service, we must follow the science. And the science that is being given to us begins with the purificatory process, especially the 9 process of devotional service. The hearing, listening to the glories of God. Because if we want to love someone, we should be knowing more about Him. So He comes, He reveals Himself through the instructing spiritual master. That's why we have this Pastimes of Lord Krsna we're reading now. It is coming from Krsna Himself. Lord Krsna, Lord Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of God, put the Pastimes, the Vedas into writing. And through the disciplic succession, spiritual teachers, saintly person, who pass on the same message as it is. Just like an apple comes down and the same apple. Because the science is unbroken. The chain is intact, coming from God. So, our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who is the dearmost spiritual master of our Gurudev, his life and soul, put it into writing, into English, because that is the desire of his Gurudev, so we can understand and appreciate, to know more about God. That is the manifestation of their effort in love and devotion, in compassion for us. So this girl who came there, she's thinking, how come she's sitting on a big chair? She's not appreciating God's compassion, that the message that this person is giving, passing on, will be our connection with what we are longing for, where we can be sheltered in love, our life, under the relationship, under the lotus feet of Krsna. His heart is being revealed by the devotee of God. So now, we follow the 9 process of devotional service. Hearing, chanting, remembering, bowing down to the deity, offering prayers, surrendering ourselves. So Lord Krsna comes. His love comes through the process that is descending, manifested by His pure loving servant, to come to this material world and pass on to us what we're looking for. We're all traveling in this universe. For a certain time being, we're traveling, using this body as a vehicle, transmigrating from one body to another. But in this case, we are in this body of a human being. I'm seated here in this machine, and I'm just here temporarily. I may be in this land, never land, in the middle of, a never land place called Mindanao or Kibawe, synonymous with Zimbabwe, a place. Nobody knows about this. But because God's compassion and love is manifested through the instruction of our dear spiritual master, if we are not able to appreciate it, the wisdom, then we will not be under the divine energy of God and be protected. So Lord Krsna tells us, just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. Abandon all varieties of religion. When we say religion, I'll abandon my faith, everything. No, what is our religion now? Whom do we worship? The altar that we worship, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful of them all? You know? We worship material energy, this body. And the process that we follow cuts off this material knot that has entangled us, that has separated us, because we can be in understanding. Yes, I can use this body, which belongs to God, and offer it to Him. He tells me, if one offers me with love and devotion, I'll accept it. I use the allotted time that is given to me. Everything can be transcendental under the divine energy. If we can appreciate that love that has descended upon us through the bona fide loving servant, spiritual master. Spiritual life is not trying to get ahead from someone, be better than someone, but rather to be situated in our true eternal nature as eternally the loving servant of God. And in that way, we will be under the divine energy of God. What is the divine energy? What we're always longing for, love. We talk about love, but when we speak of love in this material world, we're speaking about offering our heart. But because of material contamination, what do we love in this world? My car, my cell phone, my face, my extended self, our focus is, I'm so insecure that Maya, illusion, has encumbered me. I'm become so attached because of the mind. The mind, don't you notice, every time you engage in trying to serve Krishna, to chant, the mind blocks it, comes and tries to pull us from this false bodily identification, from these encumbrances. So what we should do, we should curb the mind and follow someone who will be eternally with us. The mind is temporary. So that is the beauty of being under the divine energy of God. Because we can now be sheltered and be secured without worries. Krishna will protect me. So this person, when she sees the devotee, she sees, wow, they see it differently. So many followers. Riding on a big car. People are serving him, loving him. I want that position. That's why everybody wants to become a pastor, a priest. So when we ask, my God brother asked in the congregation, he spoke, he went to the school who will be graduating, who have this goal now for economic development. They have goals. And he asked, what are your goals in life? What do you want to achieve? What will be your focus? One by one, I want to become a big businessman, a rich man, a doctor, a policeman, a fireman, a nurse. Nobody said, I want to give my life to God. I want to love God. None. So the goal that has been established by this materialistic school will be based upon materialism and upon our ruination. We will be condemned not by others. We will be condemned and be experiencing pain because of our own doing. You cannot blame anyone, because it will be a choice guided by material nature. So that's why it's very important to be under the divine nature of God. Look what's happening to all of us here. You all went to school. What is your goal? To be established in this material world. You come to Madana, 2 years work, then I apply for DepEd. So I can be secured to be able, when I retire, I'm going to get all the money that has been cut off from my salary. And I think it's my pension. It's the money that when you pay taxes and everything, they take that away and they give you at the time your body is already 65 years old. So you can buy medicine. Be intelligent. Understand our true nature. We should be guided by God. We should be guided by the saintly person because they love us. We should not be guided by the mind. The king of the senses, the mind. All the material desires are there. Arjuna tells Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, I think it's easier, to control the wind. But the mind, it's so hard. What will I do? And Krishna tells Arjuna, just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. If you follow me, then you will succeed. Who will be beside you to protect you? Your mind, your father, the government, the hospital, the doctors, none of them, because they are all under the influence of material nature, suffering just like us. In this world, we envy. Oh, how come they're very rich, How come I'm very poor? How come she's so beautiful, How come? So, yesterday I was buying flowers, I went with Madana. And there's this young girl. I said, what is your grade? How come? Then her sister is there. She's so white, just sitting there. She tell, how come your sisters? Why? She doesn't go work in the farm. She's just there, trying to become whiter and whiter physically. And me, I work with my father, just sitting down there. So, if we have no knowledge, what we will do, we will be nurturing ignorance. And in ignorance, then there's a saying, ignorance is not an excuse. You touch fire, you say, I'm just a kid, I'm ignorant about wisdom and everything, and there's fire there. You touch it, you get burned. Just like our national hero, at the age of 3, his mother taught him, don't touch that fire. Look at the moth. It goes to the fire, it gets burned. Because he understands the wisdom of his mother, and he feels the care and love. So what we should be seeing is a person who really cares for us, who loves us. And that person is Krishna, our eternal friend, our eternal Father, our eternal lover, our eternal Master, Lord Krishna. Krishna, the all-attractive Supreme Person. But because He is a person, we should relate to Him in a way He likes to be related with. He's not like, an ordinary person, or what we do with our pets. Doggy, doggy, come here, come here, come here. No, we're dealing with someone who is the cause of all causes, the source of love. The sweet, beautiful Lord Krishna. So, if we want to enter that world, Krishna himself will really reveal himself to us, provided we follow the process to be under the divine energy of God, to follow his instruction. But the mind will always be, no. Let's be number one. I'll read all the scripture back to back, all the teachings of all the past saints and sages. Try to focus and understand what's the inherent mystery within that. And I read scriptures and try to dissect it. But Lord Krishna's teaching is very simple. Love me, surrender unto me. Chant my glories. So now, it will be up to us. But the mind will tell you, no. The process should be very complicated. Very far out. Beyond the mind. That you're better than others. You're a big man, No. Lord Chaitanya's prayer. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, feeling himself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. We must be feeling helpless and embrace Krishna. Just like a child who is so comfortable in the embrace of his loving mother. So I hope this opens our mind and understanding so we can be appreciating the opportunity we have, the time which is God's love for us, this human body, this opportunity to be associating with Krishna through his teachings. Being very fortunate to come in contact with his divine grace, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, the dearmost disciple of his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, and be in a consciousness of, I want to enter that world. I want that world where I'm loving Krishna, serving him. So I'll read here how Krishna reciprocates to us. We still have 10 minutes. It's 2 pages. Krishna pleases his devotees. For days together, Krishna heard from Uddhava all the details of the visit in Vrindavan, of the condition of his father and mother, and the gopis and the cowherd boys. Lord Krishna was fully satisfied that Uddhava was able to solace them by his instruction and by the message delivered to them. Krishna loves us so much in these pastimes, but now, because we are all loving children of Krishna, the spiritual master comes, his pure loving servant comes and gives us a process how we can be loving God, how we can be with God. Because our idea of God is G-O-D only, we are not able to see him as a person. Because that's what we've been brought up. We've been brought up that God is a mystery. It's like air. But can you not deduct? I'm talking to you as a person, relating to you. Our Gurudev is relating to us as a person. And Krishna is our Father. God is our Father. The cause of all causes. We came from him. So he must be also a person. He must have his wants, his likes. So, in a transcendental world of pure devotional service, he expressed himself to us through the personification of that pure love of our Gurudev, the representative of God, Srila Prabhupada. So that person who can influence us to have a change of heart, to be able to see with clarity our true nature, identity, that is the representative of God. Someone who is a pure loving servant of God can teach us how to love God. Someone who's loving God purely can teach us how we can be experiencing that loving surrender and change our heart. And we can see the effect of listening from that pure loving servant of what we are separated with. We are separated from the source of real security and love. That's why we're empty-hearted. we're so worried in anxiety. So when we make progress in listening and understanding, we can see ourselves. Then we can experience our separation from God. And now we have this wisdom, a decision making, a choice we can make. Will I establish back my long relationship with Krishna? That is a choice all of us can make, and that can be experienced in happiness when we come in contact with that personification, the personality of Krishna, the spiritual master giving us love so we can experience what is real love. Because it touches our heart. We can see what we're longing for. From my experience, for so long, I was looking for happiness. I was so frustrated. Then one day, I read the teachings of our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. We were all dope heads, really in ignorance, trying to squeeze happiness through matter where there is none. Then I read it. Oh, everybody is looking for happiness, and Krishna is happiness, the source of joy. Then I begin, I think it makes sense. I got attracted, I read it. Then I followed the process. Because the process is like when you're hungry, there's food there, you eat the food, your stomach gets full, you feel satisfied. So when you follow the process of chanting the holy names, you will experience to be in connection with the divine energy of God, with the will of God. Then you'll experience comfort of the heart that suits it. It will be the bond. Our heart is so empty, it needs the bond that suits it. It is Krishna. It is the personification of that love. And it is addressed by the spiritual master by giving us Krishna, the holy names. Krishna runs towards us. Krishna! Are we able to run towards Krishna? So, it is up to us to see where we're heading. Or we're heading towards the fire, like the moth. When the mother told her child, Rizal, 3 years old, don't touch the fire. Look at the moth. It directly went to the fire. So now, all of us here, we have a choice to be under the divine energy of God or to be under material energy. So if and ignorance is not an excuse. You'll be like the moth, goes directly to the fire, gets burned. You'll be burning. You're living, but you're dying every moment. A pain in the heart of lifelessness because of the disconnection with the source of love, the source of life. Because in ignorance, you'll be directing your love to the material energy guided by your contaminated mind. So, the process is very simple. Serve, love Krishna. But it takes effort. No one will walk for you. So it's like you are taught how to swim. So, he who swims does not sink. So, it's up to us all up here. Lord Krishna then decided to go to the house of Kubja, the hunchback woman, who had pleased him by offering him sandalwood. When he was entering the city of Mathura, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna always tries to please his devotees, and the devotees tries to please Krishna. As the devotees always think of Krishna within their heart, so Krishna also thinks of his devotees within himself. When Kubja was converted into a beautiful society girl, she wanted Krishna to come to her place so that she could try to receive and worship him in her own way. Society girls generally try to satisfy their clients by offering their bodies to men to enjoy. But the society girl, Kubja, was actually captivated by a lust to satisfy her senses with Krishna. When Krishna desired to go to the house of Kubja, he certainly had no desire for sense gratification. By supplying sandalwood pulp to Krishna, Kubja already satisfied his senses. On her plea of sense gratification, he decided to go to her house, not actually for sense gratification, but to turn her into a pure devotee. Krishna is always served by many thousands of goddesses of fortune. Therefore, he has no need to satisfy his senses by going to a society girl. But he is kind to everyone. He decided to go there. It is said that the moon does not withhold its shining from the courtyard of a crooked person. Ayan na. Similarly, Krishna's transcendental mercy is never denied to anyone, whether one has rendered service unto him through lust, anger, fear, or pure love. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it stated that if one wants to serve Krishna and at the same time wants to satisfy his own lusty desire, Krishna will handle it so that the devotee forgets his lusty desire and becomes fully purified and constantly engaged in devotional service. So that is the instruction of our spiritual master. Let Krishna be the driver of our life, of our love, of our whole being. In order to fulfill his promise, Krishna along with Uddhava went to the house of Kubja. To recap, Kubja is a hunchback woman. So Krishna, through his mystic power, stepped on the foot of Kubja, and her hunchback situation was gone. Her beautiful luster and body has been enhanced. So we can make it into a play in our drama. Yeah, kasi it's so nice. He saw that it was completely decorated in a way to excite lusty desires of a man. This suggests that there were many nude pictures, on top which were canopies and plugs embroidered with pearl necklace, along with comfortable beds and cushioned chairs. The room were provided with flower garlands and were nicely scented with incense and sprinkled with scented water, and the rooms were illuminated by nice lamps. When Kubja saw that Lord Krishna had come to her house in order to fulfill his promised visit, she immediately got up from the chair to receive him. Accompanied by many girlfriends, she began to talk with him with great respect and honor. After offering him a nice place to sit, she worshipped Lord Krishna in a manner just suitable to her position. Uddhava was similarly received by Kubja and her girlfriends, but he was not on an equal level with Krishna, and he simply sat down on the floor. Without wasting time, as one does in such situation, Krishna entered the bedroom of Kubja. In the meantime, Kubja took her bath and smeared her body with sandalwood pulp. She dressed herself with nice garments, valuable jewelry, ornaments, and flower garlands. Chewing betel nuts and other intoxicating eatables, and spraying herself with scents, she appeared before Krishna. Her smiling glance and moving eyes were full of feminine bashfulness, and she stood gracefully before Lord Krishna, who is known as Madana, the husband of the goddess of fortune. When Krishna saw that Kubja was hesitating to come before him, he immediately caught up her hand, which was decorated with bangles. With great affection, he dragged her beside him and made her sit by her side. Simply by having previously supplied sandalwood pulp to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Kubja became free from all sinful reaction and eligible to enter with him. She then took Krishna's lotus feet and placed them on her breasts, which were burning with blazing fire of lust. By smelling the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet, she immediately became relieved of all lusty desires. She was thus allowed to embrace Krishna with her two arms and thus mitigate her long-cherished desire to have Krishna as a visitor in her house. So Krishna has many girlfriends. God has many girlfriends. They're thinking that God is just sitting down on a big chair. No. And not only that, Krishna does not enjoy matter. Material sex has nothing to do with spiritual life. Blood has nothing to do. Semen has nothing to do with love. That we will discuss about controlling the senses in the future. It's stated in Bhagavad Gita that without being freed from all material sinful reaction, one cannot be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Simply by supplying sandalwood path to Krishna, Kubja was thus rewarded. She was not trained to worship Krishna in any other way, because she is a very simple girl. Therefore, she wanted to satisfy him by her profession. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord can be worshipped even by one's profession. If it is sincerely offered for the pleasure of the Lord, Kubja then told Krishna, my dear friend, kindly remain with me for at least a few days. Enjoy with me. You and your lotus eye friend, I cannot leave you immediately. Please grant my request. As stated in the Vedic version, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has multi-potencies. According to expert opinion, Kubja represents the Purusha Sakti potency of Krishna. Just as Srimati Radharani represents his Sakti potency. Although she requested Krishna to remain with her for some days, Krishna politely impressed upon her that it was not possible for him to stay. Krishna visits this material world occasionally, whereas his connection with the spiritual world is eternal. Krishna is always present either in the Vaikuntha planets or in Goloka Vrindavan planet. The technical terms of his presence in the spiritual world is Prakata Lila. After satisfying Kubja with sweet words, Krishna returned to his place along with Uddhava. There is a warning in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is not very easily worshipped because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief among the Vishnu Tattvas. To worship Krishna or have association with him is not a very easy job. Specifically, there is a warning for devotees who are attracted to Krishna through conjugal love. It is not good for them to desire to have any sense gratification by direct association with Krishna. So I like to reiterate something. There are materialistic devotees who have not realized their true identity as spirit soul, and they think they're the body, and they are called sahajiya. They cause disturbance. They teach that you can experience the highest stage of love of God through sensual enjoyment. So they think they have achieved perfection, but the fruit that they did not is through this lusty engagement of lust. So what these sahajiya do? They have followers and they engage in sex orgy. So we should be careful not to follow these people because we'll be led into hell. So I'll just continue this because it's already 8 o'clock. So Krishna pleases his devotees. Krishna tells us, as they surrendered to me, I reward them accordingly. So if you want to worship Krishna and have material wealth, that's your prerogative. If you want to serve Lord Krishna as your friend, as a loving servant, that is a choice we can make. If we want to use this short time we have in this body and take the opportunity that we have now by coming in contact with this confidential loving servant who is very dear to him, who he wants us to whom to follow, then that is our choice, our prerogative. That will be our freedom. So Lord Krishna, our Gurudev, is begging us. Lord Krishna tells us, love me, surrender unto me. And the spiritual master tells us, please love Krishna, chant the holy names. So it will be up to us to make the choice, To follow the mind, to be under the material energy, or to follow our heart, where it can be secured, have a foundation, that when we read, God is my foundation, God is my rock. What is that? My heart, my love. When Lord Jesus Christ prays, let this cup pass as you will. Into thy hands I commend my life, my whole being. But coupled with that also is compassion upon all those individuals who are not able to see him, and now they're murdering him, putting him into harm, and he still loves them. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. It's all about love. Krsna is love. God is love. He's a person. And you are a person. We are person. We are not this body. And what is inseparable from us is this love, this happiness, this search where we can direct, take shelter, repose our heart. And that is achieved by chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. God is his name. Hare means the energy of God. You want energy? Krishna, Hare. You want pleasure? Rama, the pleasure potency of God. Radha and Krishna. What is the pleasure of God? The pure service that the devotees are giving him. Especially Radharani. It gives him so much pleasure. And what are we looking for? The most attractive person, the cause of all causes, Krishna, who possesses everything, who is the Lord of love, our eternal friend, who has unconditional love for us. Unconditional means a person loving us, to be always with us, just sitting down beside us in this material body made of machine. Please, don't follow those who are blind, who tries to ascend to God through their own imperfect mind. And not only that, God is a person. He has his own will, his own desire. So, if we want to be in harmony with that desire, he's just telling us, love me, surrender unto me. I'll embrace you, I'll protect you. Haribol Namaste.